Good morning, it's Vicki with Grace Academy. Today we're going to be talking about stage 4 in the 7 stages. We've talked about 1 and 2. We talked about 3 yesterday. Today we will talk about 4. The hallmark of 4, for me, is the fact that it is the hardest stage for the person with dementia. They definitely know what is slipping, what they're missing, what they don't know. They know it acutely in 4. And in 4, they're as bad as they're going to be until 5. When 5, they forget. They don't know what they don't know. And so it's a demarcation there that is very clear to me, and I've seen it in my practice over and over and over, that there's more anxiety in 4, there's more anger in 4, there's more defensiveness in 4. So let's talk about 4 a little bit, but I wanted to make that little caveat there, that 4 is the most difficult stage for the person suffering with the disease for the most part. Now, some people, again, everybody with dementia is a different person with dementia. And there are lots of people who go with the flow and they just don't let it trouble them too bad. But this is a really hard stage for people who want to be in control, want to stay in control, want to know what is going on, and they just can't keep all of those balls in the air, right? So it's a very difficult stage, and they need lots of support through this stage. And it's hard to support them through this stage because they are so angry and belligerent and defensive. And so this is where the application of love and love and peace and kindness, the application of those things really comes to bear. So, I think if you know it ahead of time, if you know, this is going to be rough. Let's say somebody goes into surgery, and that first day it's going to be rough, but that second day is going to be rough. And that third day after surgery is rough on people. So you expect it, you prepare for it, and you're ready for it. And so you know the kind of steps that you need to take to support them better in that stage. So in that way, that's why I would teach, in depth, and 4 will have its own day, because there's lots of things to prepare for. But if you're prepared for it, you're ready, and you can face it, and you can help them through it in the most peaceful, smooth way. Okay? Stage 4 is actually called moderate cognitive decline. If you were looking on the 3 scale, the early, middle, late, this is the beginning of middle. Early is 1, 2, 3. Middle is 4, 5. Late is 6, 7. So either way, most clinicians speak about the terms in 1 through 7. Lay people, and when they're just talking in just a common vernacular, they will say mama's in the middle stages, mama's in the late stages. And to me, that is sufficient to say, middle stages, because, there's a lot that goes on that's similar. But in the scale, and I've got it right here so I can read it exactly to you because it's detailed. Stage 4, moderate cognitive decline. This stage includes difficulty concentrating, decreased memory of recent events, difficulties managing finances, or traveling alone to new locations. People have trouble completing complex tasks efficiently or accurately, and may be in denial about their symptoms. They may also withdraw from family and friends, where socialization becomes difficult. At this stage, a physician can detect clear cognitive problems during a patient interview and exam. Now, beforehand in all the other stages, in 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, you can kind of use crutches and mnemonic devices and things like that to cover your cognitive decline in the testing. When you get to 4, you really can't. You just really can't. Your mind is just not concentrating right. It's not having the right insight, judgment, reasoning, critical thinking, number one, critical thinking, just not putting enough of those puzzle pieces together to fool a test, especially a long test. And a clock test. The clock test is so simple. It's just you draw a circle and you put the numbers, 1 through 12 on the clock, and then they give you a time to draw. And by 4, people are just not able to follow those directions. They're just not able to get the right time. Maybe they can draw the clock. They can draw the numbers. The numbers are in the right place, but the hands on the clock are wrong. So the clock test is used in 4. And if they do okay in the other test, they'll do 4. They'll do the clock test in 4. In a practical matter, the way that this manifests in the home, the way this manifests in the person, is just an increased difficulty in handling their mail, handling their checkbook, remembering to pay bills, remembering to shop for the appropriate recipe ingredients, unable to carry out a recipe absolutely in 4. A difficult recipe. Now, putting a roast in the oven is one thing, but making a complex dish, a casserole or a cake or a pie that's a little bit complex, it's just beyond their scope. The forgetfulness here gets dangerous. They'll forget to leave on a stove. Not every time, but they might start boiling a pot of water they might start boiling a pot of water for potatoes or for tea or for whatever, and then they might get distracted because of the loss of concentration. They would get distracted and then go do something else and forget that they had left a pot on the stove, So even simple things like boiling eggs, something that doesn't require, a lot of sequencing and task management, becomes out of their reach because they simply don't have the concentration to follow the task through, if that makes sense. 4 is very fascinating. You can read a lot about 4. It is fascinating. It's when they know what they don't know. I say that a lot, and sometimes people are like, I don't understand what you're saying, and other people are like, aha, that makes sense. They are acutely aware of their losses in 4. And the acrimony, the anger, the resistance, the pushback, the denial is because they want to be whole. They want to be whole human beings, and they know that they're not, and there is not a thing that they can do about it. They are trying so hard to make lists, to make alarms, to keep everything straight, and it's just a struggle to keep everything right, to remember to pay all the bills, to remember just everything, every single thing. So much of what we have to accomplish every day runs in our background, in the background of a healthy brain. And once your brain starts breaking, then you've got pieces everywhere, right? And so you're trying to consolidate all of that, and you're exhausted. A lot of sundowning starts in 4, and I have a firm opinion that is not always something to do with the regulation of the light, like the pineal gland. I teach that, and I believe that in 5. In 4, I believe a lot of that comes on because you're absolutely mentally exhausted by the end of the day. Because in 4, you are having to make so many decisions that normally you wouldn't even think about. You're having to remember that you put clothes in the washer and you need to put clothes in the dryer. You are having to remember that you're boiling eggs. You're having to remember, you're having to concentrate, you're having to, all of those things that are failing you, you're having to keep all those. Okay, let's just say, my mnemonic device is for MCCJRI, and that is memory, concentration, critical thinking, judgment, reasoning, and insight. So all of those things are cognitive function that you don't have to think about. You don't have to think about. when your brain is healthy. You are having to keep all of those balls in the air when you have a broken brain. Think how exhausting cognitively that would be. And not only are you having to try to keep those balls in the air, you are trying to you're trying to conceal the fact that you're juggling. And you're defensive if somebody asks you why you're juggling. Think about that in just a practical manner. To me, that's just a good way to think about it. You know, you're just trying to keep all these balls in the air. You're juggling, and people are like, "Why are you juggling?" And you would just be like, "What business is it of yours if I'm juggling? If you don't want to juggle, don't juggle. I need to juggle, whatever." Or they would say, "You wouldn't understand if I tried to tell you." Defensive. There should be a lot of anger. They're mad at their situation. They're mad at themselves. And that is just projected onto you. And like we talked about on last night's live, if you are the golden child, you are the one they depend on, you are going to get the brunt of the anger. Because emotionally, they know that you can take it and that you won't leave. It's a hard position to be in. Tomorrow we will talk about 5. 5 is the hardest, by report, is the hardest stage on the caregiver. The person, it gets easier for the person. Unless they have some other comorbidities, some psychosis, some other things that are going to happen secondary to the diagnosis of dementia. It gets easier for them because they don't worry so much about what do I do next, all of those things. They just kind of let it come. Some people, But we'll talk about 5 more tomorrow. I'm trying to keep these a little short because I know you don't have a lot of time every day to stop and look at these. So if you have any questions, leave it below. If you have anybody that needs this information, you cannot share from this group. This is a private group, and it's a subscription group. But you can tell everybody about Grace Academy and get them to get in touch with me about how to join. Tell them to go to the page, the Dementia with Grace show page, and there's links on how to join through the page. So, and you can share from the page, so that might be better. All right, if you have any questions, leave them down below. Whatever time you watch this, this will be archived on the page so that you can watch it at 10 o'clock, and then you can rewatch it tonight if you didn't catch everything, or you can watch it in, maybe your mama's still in 2 or 3 and she's not near 4, and you might need to watch this in 6 months. It'll still be here for you. That's part of your subscription. Okay, I'll talk to y'all soon. Love y'all. Bye.